Today's podcast is sponsored by Liberty Defense. If you're like me, you care about keeping your family safe, or maybe you like to go to the range now and then. That's why I love our friends at Liberty Defense. They're your local, family-friendly firearm and safety store, not some big box chain. They've got everything you'll need for hunting, protection, and recreational fun. Whether you're new to firearms or a seasoned shooter, Liberty Defense makes it fun, safe, and welcoming for everyone. Stop in today in Darlington, PA, or visit them online at libertydefensepa.com, where faith, family, and freedom come first. Today's podcast is sponsored by Key & Kin. Are you planning a visit for family or friends? Skip the hassle and book with Key & Kin, Beaver County's top short-term rental provider. Their hand-picked Airbnb properties offer modern finishes, warm personal touches, and exceptional service. From a single night to a few weeks, unlock a perfect stay in Beaver County and beyond with Key & Kin. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Enthralled. We're excited. We have Amanda here today, and I just want to read our scripture before we get started. Let the king be enthralled by your beauty. Honor him, for he is your Lord. And that's Psalms 45:11. So I'm going to let Amanda introduce herself and tell us a little bit about your kids, what you do, anything fun you want to tell us. Or not fun, or you just came back from vacation, which is really fun, and I'm jealous.
When you told me I had to introduce myself, I was like, what am I going to say? I'm just a normal mom like everybody else. Yeah. My name's Amanda Borelli, and I am a mom of two. I have a daughter, Emmy, who's 14. Well, I guess she's not 14 yet, but she's real close.
I keep saying that about Logan, that he's almost 12, but I've been saying it for months, and then I'm like, then he's going to be 12 and I'm going to be 13.
Right, you're going to be changing it too
only
soon.
11, but yeah.
It's okay with your kids. It's not okay with you.
I know.
Like,
yeah, that's what
don't
I keep
bump
saying.
up your own age.
Oh, it's just crazy.
And then I have a son, Judah. He's 11.
Okay.
And my husband is Joel. We've been married for 20 years this month.
It's so exciting.
Which is why we were on a trip.
Yeah,
and
you should be in 20 years.
Yeah. I own a women's clothing boutique. I've been doing that since 2016, so almost 10 years.
That's wild, because most people, I feel like, don't keep doing it forever. Like,
I switched, which probably helped a little bit, because I started selling LuLaRoe in 2016 and sold LuLaRoe until 2023.
Okay.
So I guess in April of this year, it'll be 3 years that I switched over to like all brands, not just LuLaRoe.
Oh, okay. Oh,
yeah.
So you do all brands. Okay.
Yeah, because LuLaRoe they were their own company, and you could only sell their product.
Yes.
You couldn't sell their product.
Are they still around, LuLaRoe?
Yes.
Okay.
They are.
I feel like it doesn't seem as many people are.
They're not as popular anymore. Still a great company.
Yeah.
Still make a great product.
Yeah.
I would not know half of what I know right now, or how to do what I do, if they weren't there.
Yeah.
So nothing bad to say about them. It just was a switch that needed to be made, because I needed different things than what they were making.
So you can do a lot of different options.
Yes. So I switched over there in 2023, and then I've also taught fitness classes at the YMCA since, I guess, it was either 1 or 2.
That's wild.
So I probably have been there for almost 9 years, which is...
Always at the Y.
Well, I don't remember. I started teaching PIO at Evans City Fire Hall, I think when Judah was around 1 or 1.5.
Okay.
And then I taught there for about a year. So maybe 8 years at the Y.
Okay.
And then went to the Y and haven't been anywhere else.
Now, do you teach different classes there?
I teach the same. Well, I can sub for any class. So I sub for lots of classes. But the only class I particularly teach is Tuesday morning. I teach, used to be called Hit and Flow, but it scared everybody. So we changed it to Cardio, Strength, and Stretch. And then everybody was like, oh.
Although it's interesting, because sometimes I feel like people are scared of the word cardio.
Well, I think HIT is worse.
Okay.
So HIT wouldn't bother somebody like your age or my age, but we have a lot of people, like women at the Y, who are like 50, 60, 70.
So that sounded,
and so, and I actually have a woman in my class who's like 7, I think she said she's 70. I don't remember. I don't want to, Mel, if you're listening to this, I don't want to call you older than you are. But she's in her 70s. And I think like when somebody who's in their 70s thinks of taking a HIT class, they're like, no thanks.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you call it Cardio, Strength, and Stretch, they kind of know what they're in for.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
But
Well, that's fun. So I think we'll talk a little bit about all of your things today, but we're talking about, we're in our self-care series. So you're a second one talking about that. And I'm super passionate about self-care because I don't think I did a great job when I was a new mom, I'm going to say, which maybe you too.
No new moms
when I had my first son, I just like hibernated and didn't do anything for... I feel like almost 2 years till I had my second one. Yeah. And then by that time I was about to, I feel like, lose my mind. And so
let's go.
I was like, I started mops. I started doing, I don't know, anything I could do to just get out of my house. And so when now moms tell me, or women, I guess in general, that they always don't have time for themselves, I'm like, yes, you do. You just have to make that happen. And so I think you're going to hopefully help us figure that out today.
I mean, maybe. I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I don't think any first-time mom does that really well.
Yeah.
Because I think that the first kid that you have is so wrought with, like, uncertainty. Yeah. You don't know if you're doing things right. You're trying to follow the book or the routine or the schedule that everybody says you should have, and some of your friends are like, you got to do it this way.
Everyone has opinions, too.
Yes, and then they're like, oh my gosh, you put your baby down to sleep before you let them play for 30 minutes? And I'm like... Well, I didn't sleep for like 2 days. So, you know what I mean? Like, you're like, yeah, I did. We're just going with whatever we can, make happen. Yeah. And I think it also depends on your personality. Like, are you a schedule-oriented, organized person? Yeah. If you are, that sort of organized schedule for your kids works great. But if you're not and you're trying to fit into that mold because you think that's what you should be doing, it's stressful. Yeah. Because I am not scheduled or organized. And so I tried to do that because that's what everybody said you should do with your first kid. And it literally drove me bananas. But like you, I didn't leave my house, I don't think, for like... Emmy was born in December. So my first one was born December 21st. Mm-hmm.
We were the night or the 18th.
Okay. So it was cold. Yep. You know what I mean? The only place we went was to my mom and dad's, or we would go visit Joel's mom and dad. You know what I mean? Or people came to see us.
You know where we went all the time? To the mall. The Beaver Valley Mall. We would put him in the stroller and just walk around the mall because I was like, I just needed.
It was cool.
I really was, and when there used to be stores there.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's all I did all the time. I was like,
well,
but
sometimes you got to do those things for your sanity. Yeah. You know, I mean, like, I think that's like a really. I do think your first kid is somewhat lonely. Like, if you're not confident in what you're doing, you have all these questions about, like, am I doing this right? And then, like, everybody wants to tell you what they think that you should be doing. Yeah. And you're constantly questioning, am I making the right decision? Because you don't know. You've had no previous experience. Mm-hmm. You didn't have a baby that wouldn't stop crying. So like, do you let them cry it out, or do you constantly pick them up? And I think it is one of those moments that like it's that I think, this is my personal opinion, from 0 to 1 is the hardest transition.
I very much agree. And your first kid.
Yes.
Is that what you mean? Like,
yes.
Yeah. Oh, I say that too.
From 0, from no kids
I say that
to
all
1
the time.
Kid.
Yeah.
When some people are like, oh, I think the hardest transition was from 2 to 3.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think the hardest transition is from 0 to 1, because you go from not knowing anything, even if you want to be a mom, like so bad, you don't know what you're doing. And I think it's always kind of fraught with those questions about, am I doing the right thing for these kids?
Yeah. And your whole world has changed. Because,
100%.
I mean, I quit working, so that was a piece of it too. But also, like, I just, everything that I was doing before was changed, you know? And your life isn't about you and your husband anymore. It's about this baby, and they kind of take over for a while.
Well, and hormones are a real thing. I think that's probably, like, I've struggled with that a lot.
Yeah.
I was on birth control before Joel and, like, obviously before we had kids, before we started trying to have kids. And then whenever I came off of the pill, I was a hormonal disaster. Okay. And I know for some people that's not how it works for them.
Yeah.
But for me, that's what happened to me. I go, like, when I first came off the pill, I was not sleeping, sweating all the time, never been anxious a day in my life.
Like before you were pregnant?
Yes.
Okay.
And was super anxious, like I lost a lot of weight. Like, it was a really hard transition for me. And I know that's not a normal story for everybody, but that was part of mine. Mm-hmm. And everybody was kind of like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I didn't, and the only thing that had changed was coming off the pill. And so for me, that was a really huge hormonal disruption. Mm-hmm. And then we started trying to have Emmy, and actually we had a hard time conceiving with Emmy, so we had to go see, it was about I think we tried for about, I don't know, I think I was 28.
Okay.
27, 28 when we started trying to have Emmy. And it was about, I didn't have Emmy until I was 30.
Okay.
So it was a couple years of
That's hard.
Going through a lot of, trying and wanting to be pregnant and not being pregnant. So that was already hard. But then when your hormones are kind of crazy and messed up and you don't know it and everybody tells you you're fine.
Yeah.
You're like, what's wrong with me? And then all those same kinds of things. I know that was an abnormal portion of my story, but then after you have a baby, a lot of times those hormones go through that same sort of change.
Yeah.
And
but did you feel those hormones when you were pregnant?
I felt great when I was pregnant.
I was curious. So I was thinking that might be the case.
I say this all the time, and like people look at me like I have 6 heads. I loved being pregnant. I loved all of it. I felt great while I was pregnant. I slept great. I mean, I was big. I gained all my weight at the beginning and never at the end. That was just what it was.
Yeah.
But I felt great pregnant. And then it was
probably because you didn't feel so not great when you know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's what
So just because this is something I've learned over, because I've dealt with it for so long, that progesterone is one of the main hormones that you have to have to carry a baby. So we had gotten pregnant at least one time that we know of, but I had several long cycles, and it could have been more than that, that you have to have enough of to sustain a pregnancy.
Okay, yeah.
So chances are, before I went on the pill, I didn't have enough of it anyway.
Okay.
And then once I came off of it was even worse because of the way the pill had kind of messed with my own hormone balance. So every time I had a baby, I had to be on progesterone to carry the pregnancy.
Okay.
Well, then once you come off of it, then your body's readjusting back to that. And technically, you shouldn't be taking it again whenever you're nursing, because if you're... I don't know how do I say this nicely on a podcast like this. If you're being intimate with your husband while you're on progesterone, you could get pregnant again. If you're like, the more progesterone you have, the more fertile you are.
Okay, makes sense.
So, and we were not trying to have more babies.
Is that because they usually say, which I heard is not always true, is like when you're nursing,
true.
Which I never, I guess, had a period for a long time after my kids were born, but many people get their period when I was nursing, I guess I should say, but a lot of people get it right away.
I know several people.
So,
who
and then they're like,
pregnant.
you can't. My cousin did that too.
She
She told me
nursing and thought
her baby was 2 months old.
Yeah.
Or not even, and she's like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know.
Yeah, because of that.
Yeah.
But then, like after that, like you think like you did something wrong. It almost feels like you're going through this whole deal where you don't know what you're doing and you're learning to trust yourself, and then your hormones are a wreck. And it's like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why am I not, why do I feel this way? And a lot of times I don't know, maybe this is the only thing I'm supposed to say today, is that a lot of times postpartum depression is completely hormonal. It doesn't mean that you're unhappy with...
I think that could be very true because, I mean, for many people that have it, maybe even like, I mean, you dealt with hormones like up and down, but some people, their hormones are fine. Before, and this was their first time experiencing something very weird or different feeling, and
you're like to recover.
So
I think, I don't know, maybe that's the only thing I'm supposed to say today is that postpartum depression doesn't mean you're a bad mom.
I think that's a great thing to say.
It doesn't mean you did something wrong. It doesn't mean that having the baby and the schedule and all that kind of stuff is wrong. It just means your body's going through something because that was this big, beautiful yet very traumatic event for your body, and your body needs time to recover. So if you're going through that and you're feeling those sort of feelings, there's nothing wrong with you. You need to go maybe talk to somebody so you can kind of process them a little bit, or find a friend and process them with a friend. But sometimes it's just giving your body enough of a break to take a breath and say, I'm going to be okay. It just needs time to re-regulate.
And most of the time, at least, I only had a little bit of postpartum with my third kid, which was, I think, odd. Maybe, I don't know. Because my other two, I didn't. And I was actually felt like way more stressed with them. But I only experienced it after I had Lara. And I don't know. I've done research to think reasons why. Like, she ended up being an emergency C-section because she was breached when we got to the hospital. And I don't know, all these like random things. But I remember thinking... and I experienced very minimal, I think, compared to what most people. But I also, like, it was enough that I felt what I was like, oh, this is what people feel when they say they have it. It was almost like, in a way, looking back, that I'm glad I experienced it, because now when people explain it to me, I'm like, yeah, I was very scared. Like, scary, and also I always felt like I could be in control of all, my kids, and this one, I was like, I just felt like I couldn't. I felt so overwhelmed, and I remember Kevin telling me, like, just go to the store, and I'm like, if I go to the store by myself, I'll just cry the whole time.
He's like, you just look at him behind the camera. I was like,
yeah, he'd be like,
that's just telling your wife to calm down when she's mad.
Yeah, he's like, just go and relax. I'm like, no, if I don't take a kid, I'll just cry. And I didn't know, but I remember like saying little things to him. And my one friend that was a nurse, and I remember her coming over all the time, and just, I don't know, like, it was the littlest things. But what I guess I was thinking was, these people, sometimes they don't know what they're experiencing and what it even is. Yeah. So it's hard for them to ask for help because they don't know, right?
Well, then I think sometimes you panic because you feel that way.
Yes,
and so you start panicking, and you're like, and then the panicking is worse. Yeah. Because then you panic, and it's like your cortisol levels just get so high, and you're not sleeping. I mean, I really do think, like, if there was, they make all the memes about it. Motherhood is like a complete scientific experiment. Like, how long can you go without sleeping, without showering? Did you brush your teeth today? Like, you know what I mean? Like, all that kind of stuff. Like, with anything. And it's beautiful. You want to do all that stuff, but sometimes your body's just saying, hey, I just need a minute. And no, you can't take days in a row, but I think you have to find ways to carve out time so that you can heal from that, realizing that, yes, this is a beautiful thing, and yes, we want everything that comes along with this, because my kids have changed my life in the best way. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm not saying they don't make me crazy every once in a while, or at least several times a day. Yeah. But
I was going to say it probably every day.
They are, I am a better human being because I've had kids.
For sure.
That is the honest to God truth. I am not. You learn to be less selfish. You learn that the world does not revolve around you. You learn that there's a whole bunch of beauty in caring for other people. It's hard, but you learn that. But I do think that there are moments where you have to recognize that you need a break. But at the same time, in the Bible, God created the world in 6 days, right? Yeah. And what did he do on the seventh day? Yeah. He rested. Well, I don't think he didn't mean that for moms too. Yeah. I can't say that I can practically give you suggestions of how to make that happen, because how do you rest for a whole day when you have kids? Yeah. You really can't. Yeah. But you do have to find time in your day for whatever it is that feeds your soul to give yourself, even if it's a half an hour. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes what the hard thing is that when you're a stay-at-home mom and your husband is at work all day, okay, it's almost hard to ask for help. Like he just went to work all day. He's paying every bill that we have, okay? And how do I say to him, once you've come home and you've had a busy day at work, I need you to take the baby for 30 minutes. Yes. So I can take a shower. Yeah. Or read 2 chapters in a book. Or just not be touched.
Yeah, yeah. Just go sit in a corner. Well, not in a corner.
And stare at the wall.
Like, do something.
And stare at the wall.
Yeah.
Like okay, because I can understand that too. Like, sometimes I say that now because our kids' schedules are busy with sports. And I know everybody's are. Yeah. But, like, sometimes I say this all the time. Like, I'll look at Joel and I'll be like, I just want to go sit in my room and stare at the wall. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to think about one more thing. I don't even necessarily know if I want to look at my phone. Yeah. I just want to go into our bedroom and look at something that's not moving. Yeah. And just stare at it and get lost for a little bit. Yeah. And I think that's normal. I think that's okay. But I do think it's hard as a mom to say, okay, I'm staying at home. This is my job. I'm not contributing financially to what we make. I'm going to take care of the house. And that's a big change too. I mean, think about it. If you went from working to not working overnight, not just now from taking care of a kid, but working to not working, now it's like, you have these, like, in daily cleaning duties that you weren't doing every single day. And you know what I mean?
Because nobody was home before. We were just gone all day. Yeah.
So nobody was making a mess. Yeah. And before, if you were working, chances are if you had a busy day and he had a busy day, you would just be like, oh, we're just going to order out. Yes. Because it's not a big deal. Yeah. But in your mind, when you're the mom that's staying at home and
you
you've
have
taken
to cook
on
every day. Is
you
what
cook
you
every
think.
day.
I mean, not that I do, but that's what you
yes, but you have to
Yeah.
like put some meal on the table. And I think when you first start doing it, there's a little bit more pressure to maybe make it great because your husband has given up. Like he is the one who's taking on the sole responsibility of being the financial breadwinner for your house.
Yeah.
And you're staying at home. And so I think if you go from, say, what you did to, and me too, but like if you go from like working to not working, there's just like all these changes in your life that are like instantaneous, and great, but also a challenge to change
like
into.
exciting. But you also, I don't think you can't prepare yourself for it. Even if you try, I don't know, it's just like.
And then it's like when people are like, I'm not sure I'm ready for kids. And I'm like, me neither.
You won't
and I
be
have
ready.
too.
I'm still not ready. Oh. Well, I think like what we were talking about too, and the big thing I wanted you to talk on today was like finding joy, which you just told me is your middle name, is so cool. Finding joy in different areas of our life. I mean, we're talking a lot about motherhood, which we can stay on that topic too. But and because I think I said in the beginning too, how moms can't find, or a lot of times they lose their joy in all the things. I think, I mean, your kids are a little bit older than mine, but as my kids have started to as they got older, I started to realize like how important that was. Yeah. And I feel like I've done a better job now in the last 6 years or so of finding something. Like I like fitness, you like fitness, and that's always been a big piece now of my day usually, because Kevin's always like when I had shoulder surgery and I couldn't go to the gym or whatever, he's like, I can't wait till you go back to the gym because she's just a better person.
People laugh.
So you're probably like the same.
People laugh, and I jokingly say this. I don't think I would really kill my children or anybody in my household, but I do say that the gym makes me a nicer person.
I agree.
And it's the reason why there's no headlines about me, and like on the news or in the paper or anything like that, because I think it's a fallacy. I don't know. I mean, no, I can just tell you right now, it's not even true. I guess like if you dig down deep, maybe there's a little bit of vanity in there, but I do not go to the gym for vanity.
Yeah.
I do not.
Yeah.
Okay, because I also like food.
Yeah.
So like I'm like to me it's like they balance each other out. If I go to the gym, I get the cookie and I'm happy about it.
But then if you don't go to the gym and you eat the cookie, then you're like, don't feel good about it.
Right, but I probably still eat the cookie. I mean, but
it just makes you feel a little bit better.
Yes,
I think
it does. It makes me feel better. But I don't think it's that. I don't even think it's so much as that. Like, I go to the gym because there are women there that I can talk to. And I think God ordains those relationships too. That sometimes those women are just there for you and sometimes you're there for them. But I also think that just the pure physicality of moving your body does so much good for your mental well-being. I couldn't name a study right now, but I'm sure there's a bazillion of them. For sure. Just about how that is just so good for you as a human being and what it does not only for your body, but just for your mental sanity. Yeah. And for me, the gym gave me purpose because I was teaching there. Yeah. But it also gave me a relationship, which I think, especially from 0 kids to 1 kids, if you don't have a lot of friends at that time that are having babies, you know what I mean? You may also be losing some, like, not losing completely, but I think it's very honest in saying that there is a change in friendships, especially between couples that have kids versus couples that don't, because there's just this, it happened with us, like, why don't they want to spend time with us anymore? Well, because
your kids are
because there's a human being that's demanding my attention 24 hours a day. And I think until you have one, you don't understand what that's like. And so I do think that because that first year, that adds to that first year, that first kid sort of loneliness, because you
might lose friendships.
Yes. Yeah. Because sometimes friendships change in that time period if the main group of friends that you have aren't friends that are having kids.
That's very true, because that was kind of I was the first one in my whole family, on both sides of our family, to have kids. Yeah. I didn't really have the same thing. I didn't have any friends. Yeah. Like family or friends. Like I was the first one, and also I couldn't even ask anybody anything because nobody could tell me anything because they didn't know either. Yeah. And I was like, that was so true. Yeah. I never thought of that actually until you just said that. So
there's just it's a complex change. I mean, it's a good change, but that's why there's things like MOPS groups. Yes. And I We had, like, there was a group of us that, I don't even know how I got involved in that group. Like, I think I kind of just wiggled my way into it. But I think I knew I needed it.
Yeah.
So I wiggled my way into a group of women who had babies, and I
just went.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the gym, in addition to that, was actually great because, well, at least at the Y.
Yeah, there's a lot of moms there.
Mm-hmm. And I could take my kids there.
Yes.
I could put them in childcare.
Yep.
I didn't have to have anybody come to my house.
Yeah.
So just a plug for the YMCA.
Yeah.
Every year
because then when you leave, everybody's happy. You're happier.
Yeah.
Like, you're happy. Your kids probably are happy because they got to play. And
you got out. You saw the sun for like at least some sort of daylight in the morning. So I guess if we're talking about that self-care, like even putting your kid in a stroller and pushing them around your neighborhood, huge benefit to you. Yeah. Because the sunlight on your eyes, the vitamin D, you're moving your body, your baby's going with you. Most of the time, unless you have a wild child, they're pretty calm on that.
Yeah.
Like
usually,
looking at you in the stroller.
And also, I think even if they are, they'll get used to it.
Yes.
I mean, I'm thinking of it now with my dog because I'm in a different season of the dog.
Oh, I know.
But like, she used to hate walks, and I'm like, oh girl, you're gonna learn to like walks because this is what we're gonna. And now
she hated them, or she didn't know how to do them.
Well, she would just like walk, I don't know, 5 feet and just stop, and she kept pulling like she wanted to come home. And because she didn't, I don't know. She was like, I think she was nervous. I don't know what she thought I was doing.
I'm not sure if Kevin's going to have to cut this out. But I know he only said a couple things get cut out.
Don't say.
But my dog was like a dog on crack whenever we first started like walking her. She was like, you know what I mean? Like all over the place. And it was like she like never stopped. And I was like, Piper, just relax. And she couldn't. She just like, she was so stimulated by everything. It was like,
she's like that.
She was like walking me. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have a video of it, and we still look back and laugh at it because she's better now, but she's still not.
She's so
she's still kind of, she gets really excited whenever she goes on.
But that's what made me think about with kids, though. I was like, I think some moms say, or even like, oh, my kid won't stay in the stroller. I'm like, well, they will. You have to train them. Not, you know,
the
like you just keep doing it.
The better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, the earlier you start, and I know it's cold. We're entering a cold season now. You think like it's cold outside, but just pack blankets on those kids and get out because that was the difference. I think for me, like for Emmy, like I was so nervous and I was dealing with all the hormonal changes, and I had it with both kids. Yeah. And it's just it was for me, it was just a hormonal change. Okay. And Judah was the least stressful baby. Judah gave me my motherhood back. I always say that. I always kind of feel bad for Emmy because Emmy's your first. Yeah. So she's your experiment. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they were different babies. Emmy, and she's still like it, and she's like me. She doesn't stop moving. She's just constantly going. Well, she was like that as a kid too. Yeah. But she was always happy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Busy. She wasn't bad. She was just busy, and she wouldn't sit still. And so at the beginning of her, like after she was born, I had to decide to not nurse. That was a hard decision for me too, because there's like pressure for that. You know what I mean? Everybody, like nursing is best. And I'm like, and it is. But if you're not sane in nursing, it's not best.
Yeah, for sure.
Get a bottle.
It's way better to have a
feed your kid and have some sanity.
I agree.
You know, but I think there's a lot of things like that in life that we have to kind of gently, easily accept. You know what I mean? Because you kind of want to do the things that you're supposed to do in order to be the right mom. But you know what? You are the right mom. Yeah. God gave you that kid. That wasn't an accident. Yeah. You're the right mom. You know how to make the right decisions. Even if they feel hard, they're still the right decisions. Yeah. And I think with Emmy, I did not trust myself. But with Judah, Judah was also a calmer baby. He would sleep for 5 hours at a stretch, which was beautiful.
Amazing. Yeah.
And I did nurse him. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he was an easier nurser. Yeah. Everything about him was just slower. Yeah. So in some ways, I kind of felt like Emmy was, because I didn't know what was happening with my hormones at that point in time. I didn't understand that there was an imbalance. And I didn't really understand that until after we saw the specialist that helped us get pregnant with Emmy, because we did a procedure called IUI to have Emmy. Okay. And then he kind of said, chances are, if you have to have progesterone to sustain your pregnancies, you don't have enough throughout the course of your cycles anyway. Okay. And so it took me a little while, and then after Judah, then I saw a hormone specialist, because they're the only ones who will actually look at you and say maybe there's something wrong, even if the numbers look okay. Yeah. And they put me on progesterone, and I was like,
Different person.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times, like, you have to give yourself space to kind of like just see, because then once I was on that, then it was like everything was fine, and it was like you just realize that, you know, God redeemed Emmy's pregnancy, her babyhood, I guess, for me through Judah, because then once I started and I saw that and I was on progesterone, I could see like how like my decision making was better, and it was like, and I didn't feel like a mess all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was just one simple
You
hormone.
probably got to enjoy it a little bit more too, you know?
So I always said that, and that was one of the things people used to laugh whenever I would say it. My middle name is Joy, and I think my mother will shake her head if she listens to this, because she always tells me all the time, you just need to slow down. Just like cut one thing out. Yeah. And sometimes I ask myself, like, logistically, which thing do I cut out?
Yeah.
But I feel like, Mom, it was your fault. You named me Joy. And so, like, that's kind of like what my world revolves around. And I feel like it's so lost because we have all of these things that we should be doing.
Yeah.
Your kids should sleep. You should do everything on a 4-hour cycle when you have a baby. And your kid should be able to sit up by this time. Yeah. And your kid should be reading by this time. And your kid should be doing this by this time. And they should be in a club sport by age 7. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, and I just feel like that there's no room for there to just be some sort of joyous connection to what. So I always say this, and people would kind of always look at me like I was nuts. And even when I felt bad, I still chose it. Yeah, it still was something that I hung on to. That my kids were as much for my joy as I was for theirs.
Yeah, that's good.
And I said that a lot. And I did, and I chose to do a lot of things that didn't feel good for me at the time. Yeah. Because I didn't feel good. Yeah. Like, because of hormones and stuff like that. But, like, I chose to do things, and I can honestly look back and I can tell you that I've looked at pictures of that. I'm so thankful for it. That my kids still had a joyous babyhood. Even if I didn't feel great, I can still look back on it and I can still say that as much as I didn't feel great, they didn't miss anything. I didn't miss anything. And I'm not sorry I did the things that I did. Yeah. Because joy's important.
For sure.
And I do think that we lose sight of that because we have all these things that we have to check off our list.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of our, I mean, whether when they're like, I don't know, babies, but now when our kids are like in all these sports and all these things, you just someday, like some days I'm just like, when my kids, I think we were talking about earlier about playing football this year, and I just felt like we never had time. Just, I love family time and just eating dinner together or just having a Saturday to wake up and whatever. And it's just, and I think that's what it is like you just want that joy, even though sometimes our kids are always fighting when they're but it's just, you miss that.
Well, and I think there's a beautiful thing that everybody's definition of joy
is different. Very true.
So, like, if those slow, quiet mornings are your definition of joy, then you have to find a way to incorporate those things into your life.
It's becoming better. I'm a lot like you. I think I never sit still and never, I just like always doing something. But I feel like God has been teaching me the last couple years now that all my kids are in school. And I actually do have now some days that I don't have, which before, if I didn't have something on my calendar, it would have stressed me out. I would have been like, no. But I've actually been learning that it's okay to have a day to not do something.
Especially in the summertime, whenever it's sunny and warm and the sun's out.
Well,
and you can,
like, I love now to, like, that's what I was going to say, when they're in school and I can just go for a run and just... I like am starting to really enjoy that more.
There are things that I do for, I mean, the gym is one of the things that I do for myself. I think I love flowers.
Okay.
So my outside flowers, like in the summertime, and I mean, like, I have some right now, but they're just not as many. They make me happy.
Just go look at them.
Or whatever has to be done for them. Do I need to cut them back? Do I need to water them? Like, those things. And I think, like, how old are you?
I just turned 40.
Okay. Well, I don't think I got into flowers until I was like 41. So You have some
I was gonna
time
say,
yet. I'm old, okay? That's what I'm
you
saying.
got that,
I've
yeah.
entered my gardening phase, okay? So, like, after your children are no longer babies and you don't have
it is
something to,
true,
like,
though.
care for, now you
Yeah.
have plants to care for.
Well, it is true, though, because I think in these last few years, it's, like, finding the joy in, like, new things. Like, even before, if you asked me if I want to go on vacation, it was always, like, the beach, the water, and now I'm like, oh, it would be really nice to go on this hike and see these mountains. You know, whereas I'm like, I'm getting old because things like that is beautiful to me now.
I still want to sit at the water.
I mean, I do like that, but I just mean, like, seeing things is, like, it's just, like, different.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Health Hut and Java Hut. For over 55 years, Health Hut's family-owned stores in Chippewa and Beaver have been the go-to destination for natural groceries, trusted supplements, and wellness essentials that make healthy living simple. And when you need a pick-me-up, swing by the Java Hut in Chippewa, serving up fresh coffee, smoothies, and healthy bites that fit your busy schedule. Health Hut and Java Hut, two community staples, helping you live well and feel good every day.
I think
sometimes I feel like I think that's the thing. Like, you see different things like that, and I think sometimes there's just this pressure to, like, meet whatever the demand is, even if it's like, because you see people hiking and stuff like that, and I'm not a hiker.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I like walking and going outside and, like, and I could ride a bike. But if I'm gonna go on vacation,
you want to sit.
I want to look at the water.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
Yeah,
and I think
it's good
that's
to do that.
like the most important thing is that to realize that, however God made you and whatever purpose is in your heart or whatever things you love, it's okay to love the things that you love.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, like, unless what you're doing is bad.
Maybe not
I mean,
good,
like, right.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, whatever it is that makes you tick.
Yeah.
It's okay to do those things.
Yeah.
And I think that is part of the joy. So for me, like, sometimes, and I don't often tell like, we have sleepovers a lot. For me, we're very friend oriented.
Okay,
we
yeah.
are very social people.
Yeah.
We like friendships. We like doing things with friends. Joel and I are both like that. I mean, we have days where we want to stay home.
Yeah.
Our kids are like that. So we don't very often say no to sleepovers and stuff like that at our house because, like, number one, I was just on vacation with my girlfriend, and I told her that I felt like, this is a random thought that kind of gets connected to this. And I just want you to know, I looked at all your questions beforehand, and I thought to myself, I'm not planning out a single answer to this.
No,
because
I love that.
I think about it,
No.
and I sit down and I try to stay in that guy. I'll never stay that way.
No,
So
it's good.
I saw
No.
them, and I knew it was coming, but I was like,
We're doing great.
But I was talking to her, and I said, I don't feel like whenever I get to heaven that I will answer for whether Emmy and Judah's friends accepted Jesus. But I do feel like I will answer for whether they knew about him.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's everybody's purpose. I don't think everybody's made like that. I think some people are very family oriented, and their thing is just like their family unit. And they want to do all the things with just their family unit. But I do feel, and I told Joel this morning when we were in church, because we go to Victory, and they were talking about kingdom builders and like the kingdoms that you're building, and I feel like the kingdom that Joel and I are called to is our kids' friends.
Yeah, I feel like we're very much in that same place right now.
That is where I feel like we're called to.
Yeah.
And I feel like my doors are supposed to be open, and I'm not supposed to freak out about anything on my carpet, God help me, or on the arms of my chairs. So if you see me post on Facebook about how I want to kill my kids because our floor is dirty, just give me a moment. I'm getting over it.
Yeah.
But I do feel like that's something I'll answer for. And were my doors open?
Yeah.
Did they know?
I like
so
that.
I very rarely ever say no to sleepovers Saturday night into Sunday.
Because sleepovers to your house or to other people's?
At my house.
Okay.
Yes.
Because we're just entering this phase, so we'll have to talk about this later because Kevin and I are. But that's what I keep telling him. I was like, you can have anybody you want
here.
But like,
we're careful about like. So we have had kids stay over her house that I've never met their parents before and never talked to them. And to me, that makes me nervous. I would never let my child go and stay in a house where I've not met that parent, where I don't have a phone number for them. Like, that is not okay with me. But any kid who wants to stay at my house, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I can control what's happening in here.
Yeah.
It's much harder for me to control what happens outside of my doors. But there are certain things like our kids, I mean, My kids are not perfect.
Yes.
I will never say not my kid.
Yeah, I know. Yes. You always, yes. I agree.
You have to preface that with that. But, like, our kids know you need to be kind.
Yeah.
And like, that is such a big part of our heart. Like, if you're not being kind,
Yeah.
I'm going to have a real issue with
Yeah,
you.
for
And
sure.
you're going to be in real big trouble. And, like, it's just something we constantly press.
Yeah.
But I think we all have things that we constantly press, like that God's just put in our hearts, and these are things that we are
Yeah.
But I know a lot of great people that we love, that we're close with, that are just like, nope, we don't do sleepovers. Not my kids going anywhere, and not anybody coming over to our house. And I get it.
Yeah.
You're allowed to make that decision. That's your household. That's what you feel like God has impressed on you.
Yeah.
But for us, we went into church today, and the little boy that came to church with us this morning, I swear he had been to church with us before. So I dropped him off, and I just went in, and Jude had to come get me because he wasn't in the system. So I had to go back out and register him.
Yeah.
And so I told the guy on the other side, and he was like, holy cow, how many kids have you brought to church?
Yeah, they're all under your name. Yeah.
Right, because they're all under my name. And I was like, well, we really do bring a lot of kids to church because I feel like, and I'm sure you feel this way, because I know Pastor Larry, and I know the church that you guys go to. Our church is fun.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so, like, learning about Jesus and knowing all the things that he has to tell us, they're fun.
Fun, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and they make it fun. They want you to realize, like, God's not there to suck the joy out of your life.
Yeah.
Really, and this is another thing we try to tell our kids, and I remind myself of this a lot. I remember listening to Joel and Victoria Osteen, and she said it one time, and it has stuck with me ever since. And she said, every commandment that God has in the Bible is for your good. He is not...
Yeah.
He's not testing your obedience. I really don't believe he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you want to keep progressing on to the next level of your calling, I do believe he does test your obedience to keep giving you the next step.
Yeah.
However, I don't believe that anything in the Bible that God tells you to do is not for your own good. So if you choose not to do it, you're hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, and it's like, some of those are easier to swallow than others. You know what I mean? But, like, I feel like when you start to see God like that, like, he's a better parent than me.
Yeah.
He knows me better than I know myself. And so I could go over here and do this.
Yeah.
But that's not what he's called me to do. You know what I mean? And so I can go over there and chase this, and what I think will fulfill me won't. But if I do what he's called me to do and he's put in my heart to do, then there's joy in that, right?
Yeah. And everybody's joy is so different. Like you said, I think we can't, like you said, if somebody doesn't want to have sleepovers or whatever it is, because I feel like we're very much the same way. I always want my house to be the place that people want to come. And there's been people that, you can just speak a little bit of Jesus to them when you're here, or show them Jesus, you know, like that's what I always pray. I'm like, pray that my kids, that people can see the light in them, hopefully, and us, hopefully, as a family too. I guess one thing we've been talking about is, we were talking about how I think we have both, I don't want to say figured it out, because it's always learning, and we're always changing. God's always teaching us something, or asking us to do this next maybe hard thing or whatever. But I guess maybe people might be listening today too, and they might be at the place, either if they just had a baby, or maybe they have their kids or whatever, who knows what age. How do you think that you can, maybe some tools or some things to help people find, maybe if they're like in this place where they're stuck and they're so not in a joyful season, or they are just like, they don't know how to get out a rut, I guess maybe I would say. What do you think that you could, like, some steps they could do to take?
Okay.
Whether that's in motherhood, we could break it down. It's hard. I think we've been talking a lot about motherhood, but it doesn't have to be motherhood, I guess. But
I will tell you this, that for me in those seasons, that choice was hard because I felt bad.
Yeah.
I was anxious. I overthought every single thing. And I do think that because our brains as women are so interconnected, we were just talking about this the other day. My husband asked a question, and I went from here to like over here. He was like, how did you get there?
Yeah.
I was like, because this connected to this, that connected to this.
Yeah, because they can only think of one thing at a time.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially engineers, like our husbands are engineers.
Yeah. And so I was like, because you do, and it just jumps from thought to thought to thought. Sometimes I just had to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was, I had to make a choice that today, even if it didn't feel good, whatever it was that I was going to do that day, whether it was with my kids or was by myself, I was just going to stay there.
Yeah.
And I was going to stick it out, And I was going to say, and it's really funny. In the Bible, it talks about how God will perfect everything that concerns you. And maybe I didn't enjoy 45 out of 45 minutes. But like, if you can go and you can enjoy, well, like, postpartum depression is hard. Like, sometimes just 5 minutes of enjoyment, you're like, wow, I enjoyed something.
That little glimpse of something.
You just gotta see it. But I think so. The pastor that preached this morning at our church, he mentioned this, and it's such a big part of who I am. But like, one of the things that I constantly pray for myself and for my kids is that we will have eyes to see and ears to hear and hearts that believe. And I think there is, you hear so much about gratitude and how gratitude can totally change your perspective. Sometimes it doesn't change it the first time you try it. Sometimes it doesn't change it the first 15 times you try it. But I do think that there is something to be said for doing something consistently, because and that is one of the things that I started doing consistently. Lord, give me eyes to see the things in my life that are good. Give me ears to hear them, and give me a heart that believes they're the truth and better than anything else my mind can think of. And I think it's a prayer, but I think it's progressive. And I think once you start on that track, it really does kind of start moving you along. So maybe that was the prayer that I prayed, and maybe that's the prayer other people need to pray.
Yeah, I like that.
But maybe there's another verse that God has for you.
Yeah.
Maybe you just need to take that one verse that it is, and you just need to pray that verse over yourself every day. And then think of something. Ask yourself, what is it? Even if it's a what did I used to enjoy? Okay, like was it like, cooking, or was it reading, or was it working out, or was it going to get coffee with friends, or anything like that, or shopping, because shopping does make everybody a little bit happy.
Except me, though. Actually, I don't really love shopping. I get like a little stressed. I do have to be. Sometimes if I'm in the mood, I'll like it.
Okay.
But usually I'm like, I just like Amazon because.
Well, I sell women's clothing, so shopping is good.
I mean, but yours would be more fun because I can just do it on on my computer.
Yeah, I'll make it as easy for you as you want. But anyway, so I think it's just what is it? What is the one thing? And yes, I'm going to do it today. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm going to do it today.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the dog for a walk.
Yes.
I'm going to push
it's just, I think sometimes finding, like you said, thinking back to that little glimpse of what it might have felt like, because I'm sure in those moments when you're in even postpartum or just a depressed state,
or in a funk.
It's like hard to like you said, or even in the gym, everybody you talk to, it might be really hard getting there.
Yeah.
But when you leave, you're always happier.
Yeah, you are.
I always tell people that. I was like, I promise you, even if you have to get up at 5 a.m., I promise you when you leave, you'll be way happier.
So now I do have a girlfriend who has told me that this theory is entirely wrong, because she never felt better after going to the gym. That's what she told me. I just think she hates working out.
Must.
And it's totally fine.
But
that might not be her thing.
Yeah, exactly. It might not. Fitness isn't every. But I do think releasing those hormones.
Yes.
No, it has to be good for you.
Yeah. Oxytocin. You produce it. Yes, you do. But I do think sometimes you just have to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hard part, is that we're waiting to feel something. I can hear Pastor John in my head saying, I've lost that loving feeling,
Yeah.
But you're not. There's no waiting to feel it. Sometimes you just got to get up and do it, even whenever it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that the feelings will follow the action. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And honestly, even when there were times, and I look back on it now and I'm so thankful for it, even when there were times whenever my kids were young and I was in those sort of seasons of that hormonal distress, I go back and I look at pictures now and you would never know it.
Yeah.
And that is a treasure to me.
Yeah.
The fact that I can go back and I can look at it, and I have proof that we lived regardless of how I felt.
Yeah.
And
you were able to like set your, I'm sure a lot of those days you didn't feel great.
No.
But you were able to.
Yeah, no. I really do think that joy, we put it off, we delay gratification, which is not always bad. Sometimes we should delay gratification. But I listened to this one lady. When I was selling for LuLaRoe, and she used to say this all the time. You have to celebrate the small things, because she said, if you don't, you've not registered that any progress has been made.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like, that's how we register progress. That's how we register things have changed. Is there's like a little milestone that we reached and we celebrate it.
Yeah. The little.
You know
thing.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't care what it is. Did you run your vacuum today and that made you feel good?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Post it on Facebook. Friend me. I'll like it and tell you how good of a deal that is. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's true. You do sometimes just need those little things because they build on each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They do.
And then the
they
next
build on each
day,
other.
if something like that, then the next day you like, oh, I did this yesterday. I can do this today, and just like keep going with it. I think is very.
I think most of us. Not that you can't get lost, because I do know that there are times where we do get lost. But I think most of us know who we are. You know what I mean? At least in the general sense. And I think, what is it that... in the summertime, there were days where I would look at my kids and they would be like, can somebody come over? And I really hate to say no to that, because I do really believe that's part of our purpose. But I would just be like, no, I'm going to sit outside by the pool and I'm going to read a book. Yeah. And I just want you to leave me alone. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and that sounds bad, but I don't think it's bad, because I think what you're teaching your children is that there has to be some sort of day that you come to that's a recovery day.
Yes,
I agree. They need to know that too.
And they probably actually needed it too.
Yes.
A lot of times, because I think, even us, like I can go, and then as we're getting older, I think we start to realize that. Yeah. But kids, like, sometimes they don't. Yeah. They can't.
Yes. Joel, we just said this the other night. So we went away, and then when we got back, Emmy had a game on Tuesday night, a basketball game on Tuesday night.
Here she comes.
I know. Look at this sweet baby. And I was supposed to go live that night, because I sell live on Facebook. Yeah. So I was supposed to do a live sale that night in our app and on Facebook, and I canceled it. And I had just been on vacation. That was like a really poor business decision. Okay? Yeah. But it was like, it was necessary at the moment. That's what we needed. That's what we all needed.
You needed it, family,
okay? Yeah. And what's really interesting is that night I posted, I was like, listen, I can't do it, but I got all of this new stuff, and I'm taking requests. So, like, if anybody wants to see something, I have, and I have a big Christmas show coming up in Monroeville next weekend. And I was like, I'm not going to get to show everything to you guys before I have to go there and try to sell it. So if anybody wants me to send them stuff of what I have in their sizes that I think looks like you. Yeah. Because that's another way I take care of people. Like, caring for people, encouraging people is a huge part of who I am. And so when people shop with me,
like, what they like.
Yeah. So it was beautiful, because I got all these people who were like, show me what you have in this size. And I didn't have to do it that night. Yeah. But then the next day during the day, I could get up and I could start showing people stuff and sending it to them privately. And I probably sold more than I would have if I had gone live.
I was going to say, probably, I'm sure most of those people were actually like, hey.
She just personal shopped for me.
Yeah. Well, that, and they probably appreciated that, she wanted to take time for her family. Like, they do. Like,
the women that's they do.
Like, they know, and they appreciate that about you, I'm sure.
The women that shop with me, okay, so my kids' friends are a part of my purpose, but the women that shop with me are part of my purpose.
Yes, for sure.
I ask that to the women that I'm closest with in that group a lot. Like, if you didn't know me like you know me, would you know that I love Jesus? Yeah. Do you see that? Like, do I show that enough? Because I want people to see that.
Because really, that's your ultimate whole purpose. Yeah. You love, I'm sure, clothing and all that, but...
And it's really interesting. I do like clothing.
But you love the community more, I'm sure. Yes.
Way more. It wouldn't matter what it was. I would find a way to have a community of something. It just so happened that it happened to be around clothes.
That's why I think I did this podcast, because I've told this before, but that's kind of what I love talking and being in community. And I don't love technology, though. Yeah. Like, that was the scariest part. That's why I got Kevin. Yeah, but it's cool when God tells you to do something, because same thing. Yeah. Like, whatever it is, it has to be a part of a community or build a community.
So, that's what I ask all the time. But it's really interesting in a position like mine, because people shop with me. I get to know them. And then I'm the first person that they say, oh my gosh, I had a bad mammogram result.
Yeah,
Or,
they reach out to you.
oh my gosh, I just found out I was pregnant. Nobody knows yet.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Or my mom's sick and you know what I mean? So like all of those things.
Yeah.
Those are all portions that I consider a great privilege to do what I do.
Yeah.
And so I really honestly believe this. I said it about plants, which sounds really funny, but like I do believe that there is this innate thing inside of women to care for one another.
Yeah.
I do believe that that's who God made us to be. And so one of the things that I think is really important is that we do take care of one another.
Yeah.
Because I think it's part of our purpose, and I don't think it ends once our kids are not babies anymore, or even when our kids are not in our houses anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
My friends are my purpose. I need to care for my friends. I care for my plants because I do love them. They just make me smile. And most of the time they're blooming in the summertime, which is my favorite season, so I love it anyway.
Yes, exactly.
But like, so there's all these things that like we take care of. We care for those kinds of things. And I think that's part of my purpose. Yes. And so I think it's really important. But I am blessed enough to be able to tell you that the reason why I can do that is because my husband goes to work every day.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't have the stress about how much I have to sell. I don't have a certain price point that I have to hit every month. I have that because, number one, I had a husband who loved me.
Yeah.
And number two, I have a God that provides for me.
Yeah.
And number three, I just get to do what I love, and there's no stress that's associated
you don't
with
feel
it.
stress. That's what I always think too, whether you're talking about a job or a career or even a volunteer, whatever it is, when you don't feel overwhelmed, like you're like you're doing it when you're loving it every day.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? You don't feel like it's a I don't want to say don't feel like it's a job, but kind of.
Yeah.
Even like people that love their job. I mean, not every day is perfect. There's always things I'm sure that come about. But like you truly are like, and you know that you're fulfilling the purpose God has for you, whether it's in motherhood or a wife or your community.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you're doing that, you know?
Right. Remind me to say something about marriage because I'll forget. But yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Because I also know that one of my purposes is to be there for my kids.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm exhausted, but Emmy wants to play every sport.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want to stop her from doing it
Yeah,
because, like, you only get so much time to be like this.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
They're going to be.
And so my mom's like, why don't you just say no?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh.
I know. It's hard.
And I mean, there are times when we should.
Yeah, you don't want them to you want them to be able to have a routine. And
but it's
balance.
like, we're not one-trick ponies either. So I know, like, there are some people who are just, there's one thing, and they're so solely focused on that one thing, and that's fine. They're just not who we are. We kind of like all the things. And so, you know, we don't have a problem with that because I do feel like as Emmy gets a little bit older, and Judah too, they're both going to have to start making decisions about what they can actually do.
Naturally,
they're going to narrow it down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so right now, when you can have fun and you can do all the things that you want to do, and there's not like, you know, repercussions or things you have to give up because you have to make better decisions with your time.
Yeah.
You know, like, let's just enjoy them and have fun while you have the moments to enjoy them and have fun because we're going to be adult. They're going to be adults
forever.
Yes.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
And so that's why I think, like, Emmy does play on a club volleyball team that's very low key. It's 2 practices a week, 7 tournaments out of the year. That's it. We're done. But I have been very cautious. Emmy's going to be 14. I have been very cautious about getting my kids involved in anything like that because I just feel like I want them to be kids and like have a childhood and play outside and maybe be bored sometimes too. You know what I mean?
That's what I think it is when they don't know how to be bored because they're so busy all the time. And then
or they have a phone in their hand.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So I mean that's hard too. I think all of this, everybody's navigating it and everybody's making the best decisions that they can. I think the thing that you have to do is that you just have to trust God that Okay, so the eyes to see and ears to hear has been always a big part of me. But the other one is that in John 10, whenever he talks about how he's the good shepherd, and we recognize his voice, and we won't listen to any other voice because we know his voice. Yeah. And that is one thing that I say to myself as often as I think about it.
Yeah.
I know how to hear his voice.
Yeah.
I know how to follow his leading, and I know how to do what he's telling me to do.
Yeah.
And I do. When I tell myself like that, because I think it's always on that when you're on that precipice of, do I really know how to do this?
Yeah.
And then it's cloudy and confused. But it's like, those are the moments when things are cloudy and confused that I say, I have eyes to see, ears to hear, and a heart that believes. And I have ears that will only listen to the voice of my shepherd and no other shepherd, because I know what his voice is and I know where he's leading me. And I think it's really important, because that you have to trust that you can hear.
Yeah.
And I think so many people are confused about that. Well, how do I do that? You just start.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say that any other way. You just start. And whatever it is that you feel like he's telling you inside here to do, here's my thing. I think God rewards steps towards him, even if they're not perfect.
Yeah.
If you're trying and this is what you think he said, even if it's not, he's going to keep leading you to take one step until, even if you didn't get there from here straight over to here, even if it took you here all the way around here, we're still going to get here.
there. Yeah, just might not been
right, because God's leading you in his direction, and he's training you to hear his voice. And you know, we're humans, we don't do it perfectly, but that doesn't mean he's not going to keep talking to get us there.
That's so good.
But I think the other thing is too, is that I think the things that a lot of us lose sight of, and me included, but it's always been something that's been very important to me, is that I've seen so many relationships go south, marriages, because they were so much about what their kids were doing.
Yes.
And mom was so kid focused and dad was so job focused that there was no, and that when the kids were older and leaving, there's nothing left.
Yep.
So like, that's what Joel and I go on vacation every year by ourselves.
Yeah.
4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
It's not that long.
Yeah.
We might do it like, we normally do it in like September, October, and then we will do like an overnight that's actually on our anniversary.
Okay.
But like, those are the overnights that we take by ourselves. Very rarely. There might be times where he goes away for a couple days or I go away for a couple days. I also think girls' nights are vital. You have to have girls that you spend time with, that you can just leave your kids.
Yep.
Okay, and this will make Joel laugh if he listens to this. I'm late for literally everything because I'm not schedule oriented.
Yeah.
But when it's a girls' night,
You're always.
I'm early. I'm on the porch. He was like, "You are not early for anything." I was like, I was so excited. You know what I mean? And it's just a night. We're just gonna go eat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, and hang out. But like, it is. It's something where you can kind of like leave it all behind and like whatever you need to say to those people, they don't care.
Yeah,
they're not judging you. They love you.
They're always in the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so.
I mean, that's like the one thing I'm always on time for. But I will say that you can easily lose sight of your marriage if you don't constantly. That's another thing I ask for eyes to see all the time is my husband.
Yeah.
Because you're doing 50 things, he's doing 50 things, and you're like, why can't you put the dishes in the dishwasher this way?
You see all
you know
the
what I
negative
mean?
And
it's like, oh my gosh, I can't take one more thing that you're, you're doing. But I like, and it's funny because then whenever I ask for eyes to see, and I'm like, I see it, and I'm like, I hear you.
I know. This is what I was supposed to be
I hear you. You know what I mean? And so like, Joel folds the laundry.
Yeah.
Like, I could have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then it's like, I think, like you almost get to a point whenever somebody starts doing something, like you just expect it, like it's almost like it's their job.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You see those little things that are.
Yeah.
I remember way back, even when we were at Victory, and one of the marriages conferences we went to is like those withholds. You know, like those things that you see in your husband, but you don't tell them. But you always should, because, like, why not? Like, because they always like to hear, especially if their love language is. Words of affirmation, which is Kevin's for sure. Yeah. And I'm so not like that.
Joel's
so then
too.
I don't like say it because, But anyways, they have those withholds. Well, I think this has been really good. I think it was really good to talk about like finding joy in motherhood, and even we ended it kind of in marriage. But I think we're gonna end it here. But if there's anything else that you wanted to say about, I think this is really great, and I'm very hopeful that the people that listen to it will just maybe take, even if it is 5 minutes of their day, to just either sit or go for a run or go shopping, or I don't know, whatever it is, like whatever, read a book, look at your plants, go hiking, I don't know, whatever it is, go sit at the beach, even if it's the Beaver Beach. I was just talking to somebody about that. It's
Or
really
just
not
go
a
to the
beach.
tanning bed. Like
Tanning-
right now.
yeah. So whatever it is that brings you joy,
Yeah.
hopefully this has encouraged them to find something joy.
Yeah.
Even because, and that was even when I was doing the self-care season or series, I was like, it's leading up to this very busy holiday season.
It's about to get nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where we'll all, like, even people that do this well, it's hard.
Yeah.
So hopefully this will encourage people to
Yeah.
just take
Sleep in.
in,
Yeah.
enjoy just something in life.
Coffee in the morning. I
Yeah.
don't know what it is. But
Yeah,
just 5
coffee is
minutes of
mine for sure.
solitude. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, this was great. I just want to thank all of you guys for joining us today, and make sure you follow us on social media and join us again next time.